John Locke's story is one of total transformation. A high school dropout at age 15, he personified aimlessness for nearly a decade, abusing drugs and alcohol, working at odd jobs to stay afloat and feed his habits, sometimes breaking the law. He wound up living on the edge, wandering the streets of downtown Houston, often sleeping in homeless shelters and occasionally in jail. I was a screw-up, he now admits, though anyone who sees Locke today would be hard-pressed to recognize that once aimless youth. Today, at age 31, Locke is a senior at the University of Houston downtown, an active, engaged student who is so passionate about serving his community that he plans to make that his life's work. Listen as John tells some of his own story.
I went through a rough go earlier in life. I struggled with addictions. I struggled with being on the wrong side of the law and just really living a life, a projection of how I saw myself and not actually who I was. But I was able to find who I was after, some self-reflection and finding my passions. I really felt powerless as a young adult. And I was actually, living in a shelter right before I started at the University of Houston downtown. And, and oddly enough, the shelter is actually right next to the university, not a block away. And, I can remember looking at this big, intimidating building and it's like, wow, man, can I actually take on this college experience? Am I even college material? And luckily, it was the University of Houston downtown, and they had a very accommodating staff that really helped me go through the process and get enrolled in school. Now, for myself, I didn't graduate from high school. I actually dropped out in the 10th grade. I grew up in a single-family household, only child. My mother, of course, she had to work long nights, long hours in order to provide for us, and I'm really thankful for her making those sacrifices. But for me, my mother wasn't really a disciplinarian, and going through school, I always got in trouble. I didn't see the value of discipline, and it's very interesting. Later in life, I read this quote that said, "Discipline cures anything." It was really an empowering experience because I realized, regardless of what I feel are not my strengths, if I apply the right amount of discipline to it, I can do it. And that was really, that was one of the turning points in my life that led me, to the doorsteps of University of Houston downtown. And, so happy to be in a university that focuses on community engagement and volunteerism and civic engagement, these high-impact learning opportunities that can really, inspire you and change your life. So I was able to find my passions. When I would volunteer with the organization called Food Not Bombs, and we would, share food with the homeless community and those that were hungry in Houston. It was a really eye-opening experience for me, and I realized, I enjoy helping people. Maybe this is something I should look into to pursue as a career. And so I went to the SJ office, and I shared with the then president Ivan Sanchez, about what I wanted to do, and he told me I could create a committee called Community Outreach, and that could help be an intermediary between nonprofits and agencies to students that connect them with volunteer opportunities. So I was able to do that, and we've actually registered over 10,000 hours in volunteering. When I was able to have this committee, it gave me this seemingly small victory, but it was empowering. It was like, wow, I can actually affect change in the university. And it made me think, well, I wonder if I can create change outside the university. I wonder if I can do that in the community. And it made me think even bigger than that. Well, I wonder if I can create change in the city. And then I started thinking about, well, maybe I can change things in the whole state or the whole, U.S. or the world. It just kept growing. It's that empowerment. It's understanding your own potential and believing in your own potential and abilities. So at that point, I was like, well, you know what? I'm ready to take some leadership positions. I'm ready to take on more responsibility. So I ran for student body president, and I was able to win, and not just once but twice, and it was a really humbling experience. Student body president of a university representing over 14,000 students. I'm getting all these enriching, empowering experience, and this is coming from someone that, you know, is a high school dropout and didn't see anything in my future but, you know, being a manager at Burger King or something like that. And now it's this whole new world of possibility. And, you know, at this point, because of my experiences, I just feel like there's nothing that can stop us. Nothing that can stop you but you.
John Locke's journey of personal transformation is still underway, and it's being aided by another transformational effort. His college, the University of Houston Downtown, is working to revamp its official student record to broaden and deepen the student transcript so that it better reflects students' out-of-classroom learning. It's an improvement project that Locke fully supports.
A lot of times, you know, you get these transcripts and all they have is English 1301 and you got an A. How does that really describe your abilities and your experience? So this new idea of having a transcript that actually defines your community engagement, your volunteerism, the projects you manage in college, that can really show define outcomes and how your learning experience at the college has truly benefited you. I believe this is a great opportunity to not only have the employer more informed about people they're hiring, but to really give an accurate representation of your learning experience in college.